build up during boom times are going to be pulling out the welcome mat and pushing out the immigrants, the illegals, as jobs get scarce and so do resources. A major trend that's also going to be in the U.S., a primary building block for the new party, for the new third party that's going to really, really put the Democrats and Republicans under pressure.
Let's talk about another trend you see, to be or not to be.
Well, what we're looking at here is TB. When we say that, we mean too big. And everything in the United States has become too big. And we play around with that also with tuberculosis, that TB. Because what that was the TB is consumption. It consumes the organs. And we've consumed ourselves to the point of no return here. In this whole healthcare debate, for example, we rarely ever hear the problems of a obese and overweight society. Here's a fact. You can't carry around all these extra tens of pounds on a superstructure, a body that's not built to hold it. So we're going to see a huge movement in the United States, a Shape Up America trend. As we're looking down the line, the projections are now for some 40% of the people, 43% of the people to be adults, to be obese in just 8 more years. It's already at 34%. So anybody getting into this business of shaping up people is going to be big business. You're going to see governments getting involved in it. It's going to really, it ties back in, by the way, to the elegance trend and people wanting to look their best to move forward. Here's the deal. You're going for a job. You're way overweight. Which candidate's going to get the job? You can yell about all you want about discrimination, weight discrimination or whatever. The fact is the employer is really stressed on so many different levels, and to pay higher taxes and higher fees for health insurance is not on the top of the list.
Let's talk about, during this period, you also see it as a period of great innovation, the mother of invention, another trend that you see developing next year.
Innovation, as Plato said, necessity is the mother of invention. And that's what we're going to start seeing here. As times get tough, the mind goes into high gear. For example, America is the global innovation center. What's holding us back here is our government that only now favors the too bigs and gives them all our money. But in the absence of that, and even with it and without it, we're going to see more and more innovation. But innovation taking on a new twist. You're going to see high tech going down toward the lower socioeconomic strata. For example, in India, they're making refrigerators for $45, stoves for $70 for lower economics, using the highest of high tech. It's going to be a great time for innovation. You know, it's not a green movement as people talk about. It's a smart movement. What can you do with less money to make more using the highest of highest technology? It's going to be a very exciting time. And again, America could be in the forefront of all of it.
Another trend, like almost a backlash, not made in China, a buy local, buy country first.
Well, it has to be that way, and we're seeing it already with the buy local trends. Right up here in Kingston, New York, every Saturday we have wonderful farmers markets like they do in many other parts of the world. We're going to see more of it happen. People are going to come to the understanding that you have to support your community, your neighbor, if you're going to live a higher standard of life. And we're going to see China become really a pariah nation in many ways as they undercut even the poorest of nations with their products. For example, Indonesia, as poor a country as that is, they can't sell nails that are really just made from wire cheaper than China could manufacture the wire. So we're going to start seeing trade protectionism become a major trend, barriers going up. And, of course, they're going to say that it's going to hurt the economy, and it's really not going to at all. It's a fallacy, by the way, that worsened the Great Depression. Trade was not the element that did it. So we're going to start seeing more and more made-in-your-country kind of movement. You know, when you go back, for example, in the early days of Walmart, Sam Walton used to brag about all the products that were made in the USA. Now you're lucky to find one there. So made at home is going to be really, really big business, a good time for small manufacturers, particularly those that market their products properly.
And finally, the last trend I find fascinating. You call it the next big thing. Just as traditional print media, meaning newspaper and magazines, were scooped by the Internet competition, so too will new communication technologies herald the end of TV networks as we know them. And one of the problems I think you're seeing with the Internet, Gerald, is one time the networks were supposed to be unbiased, and I think they've shown that they are biased. What happened to investigative journalism? We've seen a lot of the media scandals, whether it was Time, CBS. So people are turning elsewhere for their news. So let's talk about this next big thing and what our information networks might look like in the future.
Right now, the major communications industries are doing exactly what the newspapers and the other print media did. They're going in the wrong direction. They're taking from the big and going to the small on all the handheld devices, etc., trying to get their content out there. The big news is going to be technology has now come about, and it's going to be here very, very shortly, whereby everything you get off the computer will now be transmitted on the widescreen TV. And that's the big change. The element to think about is that years ago, you had an antenna, and that's how you got your information on your TV. Then it went to cable. The computer is only a transmitter. Everything that we see on that computer virtually is going to be able to be viewed on the widescreen TV. When that happens, you're going to see new networks and upstarts blow away the traditional cartoon news networks and all the other stupid media out there that we're forced to watch because they control distribution. As long as we have net neutrality, which is, of course, up in the air at any time, we are going to see the demise of the ABCs, CBS, NBCs, just as we've seen the Chicago Tribunes go bankrupt, the Philadelphia Inquirers, and all the others, Minneapolis Tribune, Seattle Post-Intelligentsia, on and on and on, either go out, go under, or go web only. This is going to be a huge trend because all you're getting out there, what they call news, oh, excuse me, Jim, I have to get off right now. I have to see what happened to Tiger Woods. I mean, who are these people talking to? Imbeciles? Hey, I think there's another Michael Jackson sighting. I mean, who are these people kidding? Katie Couric, Brian Williams, Oberman, Hannity, O'Reilly. How about Abbott and Costello? So people are going to start looking for real news, then trend information news that's going to help them prepare for the future rather than titillate and be exploitative.
You know, Gerald, always fascinating and always on the mark. These are some interesting trends, some things that people might want to worry about, but also some hopeful things in there as well. Gerald, if our listeners would like to find out more about the work that you do, please tell them how they could do so.
Well, they could go to our website, trendsresearch.com, and let them hit the button that says Top Trends 2010, the breaking point year, and they can preview what we see coming ahead. And I want to let everyone know that we know how difficult times are, and we have a discount button on our order form. So please contact us. Tell us what your situation is, and we'll do our very best to provide the Trends Journal to everyone, because these are very, very perilous times coming ahead, and we want people to be prepared so they don't follow their leaders over the cliff.
Well said and well put. Always fascinating, Gerald. I want to thank you for coming on the program. I want to wish you a healthy and prosperous holiday and Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year to you and everyone listening, and thank you for having me, Jim.